Are you still on the fence? What are you waiting for? Go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and get signed up right away for the Gold VIP membership, where Mark McSee provides you with the latest news, updates, company profiles, economic calendars, so much more. Everything that you need to make an informed decision on how to invest your hard-earned money. Go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and get signed up today.
Uh, 207.80 up. Let's go really low on this one just to give you some room. 207 do. Okay. But if you look at the trend, right, of what's been happening with NVIDIA, if you take your overall trend, it's been to the upside, leading up to, I always talk about this, always leads up to earnings, but typically it's buy the rumor, sell the news. So you've got to be extremely careful.
Yeah, see, and that though is exactly why I like for traders to use Apple, right? Because it isn't that much volatility. You know what I mean? You could have 100 contracts at Apple, but it moved a penny. There's $100. You have 100 contracts at NVIDIA and it moves like that, right? That's 5,000. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's make it rain.
Join American Dream Trading's live trading weekdays 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. Welcome to the Aftermarket. American Dream Trading. You have entered the Aftermarket. AmericanDreamTrading.com. Welcome. You are now in the Aftermarket. Welcome to American Dream Trading's The Aftermarket Live Chat and Watch Party. I'm your host, J&J Video Reacts, and this is the Aftermarket Stock Lounge. Welcome. We got a show for you tonight, guys. I know you've been looking forward to it. You know who's here. Yeah. Ange is here. She's going to go over some trades with us. She's going to talk to us about how she's so successful. She follows Coach's rules, and she's going to explain to you how she manages to stay on track. Because I know you want to know. If you haven't heard before, well, now you know. And you know now her account just keeps growing and growing and growing. So she has figured out the way to get it done. She, she's one of our best examples of what to do or what happens to you when you follow the rules and get it done and you have discipline to do that. So, Ange, proud of you, girl, and keep up the good work. We're going to get her on here in just a second. But before we do, I just wanted to say, hey, welcome to the Aftermarket. This is a stream that basically is for us traders to just kick back, relax, let our hair down, and talk about our day trading in the stock market. And we try to do something new for you each and every week, and especially Mindset Master Mondays. You know, I appreciate the people that come on here, especially Ange and Palm Coast, Nate, Marky Mark, those guys that have come on. Eric Smoto's been on here. I appreciate that, because that is them reaching out to the community and giving you what they know, what they've learned from Coach, what they've taken, the strategies that they've taken from Coach, made their own, and flourished with it, and subsequently but bucket loads of cash. We could go the other way with it too, but I'm going to keep it PG tonight. So hey, listen, if money is what you're after, that's fine, but realize you have to master the process first, and then the money will just fall. Okay. You've got to learn how to trade properly. And that is what Coach Chad W. Christian, 32-year stock market vet, trains us to do. He trains us to actually be day traders. We trade. We don't chase call outs in here. We don't look for tickers and just the newest shiny new penny. No, we actually know how to get in trades, navigate those trades, and then get out of them successfully. Okay, so thank you, Coach, for allowing us to come use your YouTube channel after the market and just let our hair down and vent and talk about our day and our trading and all that. So we appreciate you for that, and we appreciate all that we've learned from you. He has created over 10 millionaires, people, with the strategies that he's taught us. He has retired over 100 people. Okay, and soon to be one of them. We are speaking that into existence. Okay, so if you want to leave your 9 to 5 job, if you want to make money every day, or at least learn. We're not going to guarantee you're going to make money. It's up to you. We can give you the lessons, we can give you the tools that you need, but it's up to you to use them. Okay. So, with that being said, go to AmericanDreamTrading.com. That link is posted right in the live chat there, and it is pinned to the top, so you don't have to search for it. To join our group, all you have to do is go to AmericanDreamTrading.com. And right now, if you do that now, there is a discount code. Summer 1000 is the discount code. If you use that, you can get $1,000 off of any of the VIP memberships that you sign up for. And you want to sign up for the VIP memberships because that includes all our services. In fact, we've got a mastermind class coming up on the 28th of August that's going to be amazing. Coach gives those himself. If you have the VIP Gold, you have access to not only daily training from Coach himself, which is unheard of anywhere else. He uses a live open mic. Nobody else does that. But you also will get daily, well, not daily, but every other day, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You get breakout sessions with a lot of our leaders. You'll get weekend training with our number one trainer moderator, David. So there's so much. There's so much. But I'll tell you what, monthly workshop class, I can't stop naming stuff. So yeah, you want to get over there and you want to join. The second link in here is the link to join the panel. Once Angie and I get finished having our conversation, you can ask her questions. You can come up on the panel. I will put the Restream link in the live chat. That way you can come up here on the panel and join us and ask questions and all of that. So looking forward to that. And the last link is yours truly's tip jar. If you think I'm doing a good job on this show and you want to reward me for that, I greatly appreciate it. And it is part of my income. So I use it to help keep the lights on around here. So that link, host tip jar, is right down there in the live chat as well. Just click on that, and it is a Cash App link. So pretty easy to use. So with that being said, without further ado, let's not keep Ange waiting. I know you guys want to hear from her. I want to hear from her too. So welcome Ange to the panel, everybody. Hey girl, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again.
Yes?
Yes, we never get enough of you. You know that.
I know. I'm here all day.
Well, that is a good thing. Lucky us. Let me go ahead and switch this music out a little bit here. So how'd you do today in the market?
I did very well. I had another green day.
Nice.
I did take a few red trades today, but that's normal.
It happens to the best of them.
Risk, follow the rules, and you're fine, and I ended up green at the end. So I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah.
That is all that matters. So, I guess a lot of people, there's all kinds of, well, did she start with 500 or how did she build it up? You started with $500 on your account, right?
Yeah, okay. Correct.
So let me ask you this. Walk us through how you built that and when you knew, okay, what were the sizes of the first trades that were they $5 trades? Were you trying to achieve $5 goals, $10 goals, or did you just go right for the gusto right after you
Sure.
started?
So that's a great question. So when I got started, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So I went in there in the beginning and I was like, ooh, penny stocks, right? So I go in there my first time to hit up on a penny stock and realized, oh, well, I need to use 100 shares because it's under $1.
Right.
I soon realized there in the beginning that, you know, when you do a penny stock that's under $1, you have to use 100 shares. Like that's the rules.
Yep.
I learned quick in the beginning that, okay, well, I didn't know that. So let's try something different. So then after I figured that out, I found
Makes it
$1.
a little more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, well,
Legal.
that's great. Like,
and under 10 cents, it's 1,000 shares.
Right. Which I found that out too the hard way. And it probably wasn't too far after that. I'm like, really? I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like,
right.
What is this? Right. And so that was in the very beginning. So and I still do the same thing today as I did when I started. I still like to trade stocks that are $1 to $5 range. Okay. Now, here probably in the last few weeks, I have kind of sprung out of that a little bit and have been more of like the 5 to 11 range.
Okay.
But it's stocks that have been running that I was trading when they were $1 to $5. And so they've had news or catalysts that have, you know, transpired them to grow significantly. So I'm still trading some of those, Serve being one of them. So that's a bigger stock than normal, but I still do the hot stocks. Those are my favorite. So in the beginning,
you traded Serve from when it was a couple of dollars all the way up into the $11.
It was a hot stock.
Yeah.
And so then when that news hit like a week and a half ago,
yep.
It's been on the radar ever since stuff. And I played it again today. But to go back to like when I started, early on, I figured out real quick that I didn't know anything, which I knew that coming in here. So it was important that, you know, the rules that coach put together for us is what I abide by. And if I was going in with $500 and I knew that if I blew up my account, that was it. Like this was it. Like you know, I'd have to build that back up again, or I just have to be done, you know, and here is an investment in yourself. You know, I came in here with the idea of, okay, well, let's give this a whirl, you know, and we'll just kind of see what happens kind of thing. So I'll end up all over the place if I don't go back to your question.
No, you're good. You're good. Talk it out.
Going back to what I initially do. When I took my first trade like beginning of February. And so I'm an analyst. That's my day job. That's what I do for a living. So I sat down and I looked at, okay, I have to get really good at my mechanics so that I can achieve what I need to achieve to grow this account, because it's small. You know, I don't have 25K to come in here and just blow, which sounds like most people do. So it's a great thing that I have a small account to begin with, so that I can't make those huge mistakes, because I probably would have. But it's important to me to have that account grow organically. You know, that it started out the $500 and then it's just grown since.
How many trades would you say you made a day back then, roughly?
Yeah.
How many trades would you say you made in a day back then when you first started trading real money?
When I first started, it was probably between 5 and 10, whatever I could get out of that $500 in a day.
You used the whole thing in a day?
Yeah, because then you'd have to wait till the 2 days after, or I'd split it. So I did that at first. So at first I was like, well, we'll just do the 500, and you know, and then I got to wait a day, which I need to train anyway. So what's another day?
Use that as training time.
I would hear, so then I would hear in the training, well, don't do that to your account. You know, split it into two so that you have buying power each day. Okay. So I went and I started doing that. So I split that account into two. So then I could at least trade one trade a day if I needed to, but I could span it out further. Like every piece of the puzzle started coming together because, again, I knew nothing. So once I figured out my mechanics a bit and I identified that I could get in and out of a trade with mostly very little error, I was then able to increase my position size. And as that time went on, and because I don't have to dip in this is not my income, at the start of this was just an account that I was going to grow, because I knew in order to be able to make bigger plays and have bigger position sizes, I needed a bigger account. And the only way that was going to happen is if I leave that account alone.
Okay, so this was not bill money. This was money that you had set aside just strictly for trading.
Yep.
Wow.
And so day over day, the account grows, as you make, whether you make an error that causes you not to trade, right? Because you got to follow the rules. And I've been really fortunate that I haven't had that happen. I take red trades, yes, but I haven't had a day where I was so far in the hole that I needed to give myself a timeout.
Yeah, because you follow the rules.
Yeah.
You know, that's a testament to that, because if you don't, you're gonna have red days regardless. Everybody does, even when you follow the rules, because sometimes stuff does what you don't expect it to do because of a news catalyst or whatever. But I love what you did, because you said, okay, I'm gonna decrease the odds of that happening, of me blowing my account up, by following the rules first and foremost. So that's amazing. How much would you say you were making initially in those first few sets of trades? $5, $10 a day? What do you think?
In the beginning, sometimes $1, especially when I was first getting started.
Were you doing one at a time?
Yeah, one at a time. And I still do that. When I start out in the morning, so I start with pre-market every single day. So I'm in here. So I'm Central Time, so 3 a.m. My first trade or two that I do is one share.
Because call those wake up trades.
I'm in there to make sure that I'm awake.
Yeah.
And then if there's a runner, right? Because some mornings there's runners right away at the beginning. I'm at this point now in my trading, I am very much capable of getting into those trades. I can do that. But if it's not a runner and it's slow as hell, I go in with one and I'm like, all right, let's see if I get chopped up. Let me make sure my mechanics are right, that I've got everything set and ready to go, and then I can go up from there.
Talk to me about your strategy. You are a weed waiter. Am I correct? You wait in the weeds like a lot of us?
Yep. So I'm a scalper. So when I get into a stock, I go in with the idea that I'm going to wait for the opportunity. So I get down at support and I wait just above everybody else. And as the L2 comes down, I'm watching it and I'm making sure that it's not jumping around.
Or it's not going to blow past you.
Some little sucker got in there and moved their order and ripped my face off today. And I'm like, you little dog. But so I'm in there and I am paying very close attention. Once I put my little toe in there, ready, waiting in the weeds, I'm watching it. Yeah. And I am not paying attention to anything else. I am stone cold paying attention to what's happening in that L2. And most of the time it'll come down and pick me up. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes an order gets put in above me and it gets picked up there. That's fine. I have two choices. I can either stay waiting in those weeds if the L2 says I should be, or I can adjust it and move it up or down or whatever I need to. And I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so how would the L2 tell you, and this is those of you that are trying to figure out how to read the L2, how does the L2 tell you to stay there?
Well, the L2 will tell me to stay there if it's the green bar. And I don't know what it's called, but it's the green bar that goes across
the volume indicator. Yeah.
Thank you. The volume indicator.
Yeah.
And if it's telling me, like, for example, right now I have SPCB up and I'm just looking at it, right? It's just for reference. If I'm in there, I have two options. I can either go and I can be in the weeds at 21 cents, or I can be in the weeds at 18 cents. I have that choice. Now, how do I decide which one I do? I typically pick the one that's closer to the bottom. And why do I do that? Because I get distracted easily. So I have to be super careful.
I got you. Me too.
But in reality, if you look at that, there's 38,000 waiting in that first one. So there's a good chance that it might not go down to that 24 or down to that 18. And I know that. But it's
I'm
a
gonna
choice.
pull it up. What's the ticker?
It's SPCB. It's not a good example for volume or anything like that, but it's just one that I had pulled up to use as a reference. I wouldn't trade this. Like, this would not be something I'd be sitting and waiting. But it's an example.
Yeah, SP.
Because there's a criteria. You know, you got to have the right amount of volume. The free flow has to be appropriate. There has to be some kind of volatility going on.
Right.
For me to ever step in it. And I go down the list, and I, for the most part, pay very close attention to that list. And I don't jump in it unless it basically says, hey, take me.
Let's see here. We got the window. Let's go with that. Okay. So, all right. So we got the L2 pulled up with it.
Yeah. So disclaimer, I wouldn't trade this. Like, this is not a good example. Like, I wouldn't even look at it. Why? Because the L2 isn't even full. So there's no volume here. But for the sake of showing what the weeds look like and what it's like to get in here and sit, this is an okay example. Yeah, so I have the choice. You know, I can either go in at 19 cents, which is just above support, or I could go down at 17, which it's moved, which is the next point, right? You have to pay attention to it. You can't just sit something in the weeds and walk away. You can't do that. Right. Because it'll come up and chew you up. It'll spit you back out whole if you're not paying attention.
Absolutely.
You know, so I pay very close attention to that. But that's just an example of what the weeds would be. You know, I have two choices. Right now, if this had volume, I would sit at 17 cents. I would at the 17.4.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with that, because just like it's sitting here, like she's saying, she would sit at 19 cents right here, because the big area is 18 cents right here. So Nate has always trained us to go in one right above it, because it's going to pick you up on the way to this one.
Yep.
It's going to come down here at some point, guys. Why? Because see how much volume is in here, as opposed to, well, it would just be maybe a little teeny tiny bit of green, as opposed to, see this right here where 19 is? See how small that green level is? But look at 18. So that's showing you how much volume is in that level. Nate picks the one right before it, because why? This is a magnet, because it's so huge. It's going to bring that down. And Angie's saying she might get in here, but most likely she'd get in here. And usually, if it were me, I would do the same thing. Why? Because it'll pick this up, and then guess what? This is an even bigger level, isn't it? So it's going to keep going. It's going to come down here as well. So you don't want to get caught up getting, even though it's just 1 penny, that's fine if you're a small account. But if you've got 1,000 shares, that 1 penny all of a sudden turns into $10.
It certainly does. And then you can also look at this too. Like, say you have your Danny DeVito toe in, say you decided to go with that 19.1, right? So you're sitting there, whatever, waiting for it, and it's creeping closer to the top. So that means it's getting closer to you, right? And out of nowhere, it disappears. And then you're left with that 35,000 that's sitting there at 17. That sucker's going to knife drop.
Yes.
And that's when you get your face tore off sometimes. It happens. It happens to me. It happened to me twice today. But the difference is, when that happens, is you go in so small in the very beginning that in essence, it's pennies, right? And that's the sole purpose. If that does happen and it's not a clear run, you're not getting your face ripped off. You're not chewing up your account. You're simply just putting in an opportunity there and to see if it's going to do what it's supposed to. And then if it doesn't, you re-enter. You get back in and you do it again.
This is that rule. Okay.
Absolutely.
Small position sizes, guys, at the onset. They offer a greater reward with less risk. Don't jump in all willy nilly at these levels. Okay. Dip a Danny DeVito toe, as we like to say, right, Ange? And then
Absolutely.
increase it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So, good deal. Let me get that off of there. Oh, okay. I'm like, where'd you go?
Oh, I'm
I don't
here.
want the picture. I want the human. Hold on. There we go. But yeah, see, that's, would you say, because I know you don't have anything to compare it to. So I guess what? I'll take this one. It is a lot simpler than doing a bunch of, jumping around, finding different stocks here and doing options one day, EWO the next day. That waiting in the weeds is probably one of the best strategies for a brand newcomer who is just starting. You're doing shares, so you don't have all of the Greeks to worry about, and you can do penny stocks, which you don't have to have a huge account to trade those, you know? So you need to focus on the process, right, Ange? Not
Absolutely.
profits,
Absolutely. Yeah, if you focus on the process, the profits will come.
Yes.
And you just have to trust the process, right? So we as traders, new or seasoned or whatever, when you come in here and you've got all these ideas. Like
Hmm.
I'm lucky in a sense because I came in here with nothing. So I came in here with an empty cup. And
And
so
you just trained for like your first 3 months, didn't you?
I trained for the most part, yeah, before I started really getting profitable. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually found coach like back in December before I ever came in here and joined the VIP. So backstory, right? Like how did I get started in this? Back last fall, my son told me that I needed to get a hobby because him and his sister are getting older, and are doing pretty much doing their own things now. And Keith is going to be a senior, so he's doing his own thing. And then we just have our youngest, that runs us all over hell, right? um and he's like, you need to find something to do with your time. Now you have time to do something. Well, I've always wanted to day trade. Like I've always wanted to learn. Back when it was an option, it was so expensive to get started. But we
Hmm.
didn't have the money to do that. Like there was no way that we could ever, even fathom the idea, even if I wanted to. It was so expensive to get started. Plus, you have no idea what the hell you were going to get yourself into at that point.
Right.
And so I found Coach on TikTok, followed him for a while, got introduced to the aftermarket, watched that a little bit here and there. Um, Decided in January that I'm like, okay, I've watched this guy enough. I still don't know I've not done anything. We'll check it out. So I started out as a monthly VIP.
You know what? Not to stop you. I remember you. I remember Ange. I remember calling your name out when I would call out the names. It
Mhm.
just dawned on me. I'm like, yeah, damn, Ange. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember calling your name out quite a few times. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Um, so yeah, so January I came in here as a monthly VP because I'm like, you know what? We're gonna see this is. We're gonna put in the time and the energy. We're gonna figure this out because I think I could probably do this. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is it? Like if I could pay for manicures and Starbucks
And
coffee,
Starbucks
it'll
coffee.
be fine. It'll be fine. Like, heck yeah, that's a huge
Hmm.
bill that I don't have to have. you know, but little did I know, right? I came in like my first like 2 or 3 days and realized there's a pre-market. Didn't have a clue that was a thing. Like I had heard pre-market, so you hear these things over and over again, but it don't actually register until you start paying attention, right?
Right.
And then I'm like, I got to get up when. Like I go to bed early, right? Like I like to go to bed fairly early.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right, I got this. This will be fine. So my first week coming in here at 4 a.m. Eastern, I'm like, what? But then you hear it, right? Like you're going to get the training you need to be
Yeah.
successful. And I work full time.
Yeah.
Here's a huge caveat. I work 8 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday. That's the only time I have to trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to figure this out if I'm going to do it. And it's got to be before I go to work. So get that figured out. Okay, my first week here, I'm like, holy crap. First of all, I can't stay awake, right? I
Right.
can't figure out how to go to bed early enough. Like, what time is early? I have no idea.
Man, those first few weeks, months must have been killer for
And I
you.
still, even now, like if I have a really long week, both at the office and then coming in and trading too, by the end of the week, I'm toast. I really,
it's
truly
not.
am. It is time to shut it down and start
Mm-hmm.
over in the next couple days and stuff. But I got it figured out, right? So I was damn determined that I was going to figure this out. So I show up for pre-market every morning. I learned from Nate. I learned from Mark, and everybody else in that room too. So it wasn't just the two of them, right? I learned from Mark how to chart. So why am I as good of a charter that I am? It's because of Mark, in all of his teachings, right? And then everything else that I've learned, the education that we get here. I live, sleep, eat, breathe this still
Mm-hmm.
every single day. And I will, knowing that in the future, I won't have to if I choose not to. Now I know myself, I will, but that's beside the point.
Right.
Um, and that's okay, right? And that's
You're addicted like the rest of us.
But it's my choice, right? I don't have anybody. And like Nate said a long time ago, something that really stuck with me was that I don't ever want to feel like someone has their thumb on me and they're holding me down.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me because I'm comfortable. I was comfortable with my 9 to 5. I found a place that takes care of me. I get to take care of other people, but I also know in the back of my mind that I am still just a number, and at any given moment that can be taken away. I mean, look how many people lost their jobs during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Look at how the market is currently. Like, I never paid this much attention to the market ever in my life, and just how much things that I see on the marketing side of stuff affects my role, affects my job and what I do for a living.
Absolutely.
So I see it, and it's scary, right? Like all these people, that are being affected by
for sure. Yeah.
the world we live in today.
And none of them have a clue. And most of them will not ever take the time to learn something like this.
Exactly.
And that's a shame.
But, at the same time, though, do they know it exists?
And that's the thing. And no.
And it's our job to share it, right?
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, right? Like, if somebody asks me, what do? I tell them what I do. You can tell me I'm crazy. You can look me straight in the eye and say, oh, I bet you guys lose. I know somebody that lost blah, 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 because of this, this, and this. Well, they're not doing it right.
Yeah, period.
They're not getting the right training. Oh, well, there's a bot for this, a bot for that. Oh, that's terrible idea. Train. Learn how to do it yourself. Come on.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. I know. It's like, and Jen, God bless her, because she doesn't, hey, don't they have bots for stuff like that? I'm like, yeah, but you don't want to use those. It's like, that's like basically,
and you may as well light a $20 bill on fire right in front of you.
Right. And nothing against ChatGPT, but it's like, come on, use it, but hey, you know what? Don't forget to use your noggin sometimes too. Sometimes ChatGPT may not have the answer. So don't lose the ability to think for yourself. And that's what I love about how Coach teaches. He teaches us how to think for ourselves in these trades and not just chase call outs from somebody else doing something,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think it's great too, right? Like, so fast forward a little bit now, the wheel started really turning about the beginning of May, and it really turned a corner the end of May when it went to daily, when your accounts reset every day instead of every other. And stuff. And
at the end of, okay, I got you. Where you get your money the next day. So is that when you started sizing up?
Yeah. And I've actually started sizing up more probably since, probably beginning of June and stuff. And at this point now, right? Like, so I'm a scalper, I don't know anything else. I can't do options. Why can't I? Because I don't even have the crap set up on my stuff to even touch it. I don't even have it up. I don't have the EW. I don't know how to do the EWO. I don't even have it on my Weeble. I don't even have it. If I had it on there, I'd want to play with it. We're not doing that. Like, I have to be disciplined in what I need to be doing. And if I need to be following the rules step by step, doing the process, doing it without any emotion, and just doing the damn job.
You guys are hearing this, right?
Just do it. You can't like willy-nilly it either.
Yeah,
no, you have to do it, or you're gonna blow your account up, or you're gonna have red days, and we're all gonna be poor me. No, just follow the rules. Just follow them. It's so easy. Like my personality in general is very. We've talked about this before. My personality is very dry. And I'm very stern and very focused. And it takes a lot to get me out of that state. It really, truly does. So this works well for me because I get into a trade and I am not thinking about anything else. I'm not. I am paying attention to what I need to pay attention to. And God forbid if you interrupt me. Like, don't interrupt me. Like, I can listen to Coach when he's talking and stuff like that. I can hear that, because we're trained. You listen to the sound of his voice. Okay. I will listen to the sound of his voice. Even if what he's telling us does not apply to me, I am still listening. Because it may not apply to me right this minute, but it will.
But it will.
And I'll have that aha moment where we're like, I heard that like 6 months ago. Okay, I hear you.
Yeah, people tell me you're in this call. You've been in this call every day. You haven't missed any time, and it's so crazy because there are things that are resonating with me now because I've heard them and heard them and heard them and heard them, and now that I've put a year and a half of screen time in, they resonate so well because I'm like, I know what that is. It was described. I've seen it in a video. Coaches talked about it, and now I actually know just from experience what it is. So yeah, leave it on.
Yep. And so now, now to me, it's like really fun, right? So now I'm learning, I'm trying to teach myself to figure out how much, how big can I get my position size where it starts making me feel nervous?
That was my next question. Like, how big do you think you're, well, we know you're going bigger now compared to how you were going, but yeah, have you gotten, how David says, itchy and scratchy yet, or are you just continuing to upsize and just taking it in stride?
Well, that's not true. I did one day because I was using my hotkeys and I had like a finger twitch and I bought and I didn't want to, like, it wasn't my intention, and so it totally threw me off because I was not set up for anything. It was not where I wanted to be, and I mean, I was fine. Like, it was okay. It was much higher position size than what I would have wanted because I do have a different position size for pre-market and during the day. So I do have, it is slightly different. But man, my finger twitched and I'm like, I'm in this. So I got a little nervous with that only because I wasn't prepared. Right. But I tried last week again and I had one of the biggest days and it wasn't even, I didn't even intend for that to happen. Like, I go into my day, with a plan that I need to make X amount of dollars for that day. And that's just what, in my day job, what I would make with my day job. And so I just have that as my goal, and luckily for me, it supersedes that, and greatly, which is awesome. Right. But Absolutely. Now for me, it's creating consistency. So now I'm really focusing on consistency because I can go in there and I can do super awesome. That's really great. But I want to be consistent, right. So I've either got to be super awesome every single day, or I can scale back and I can be awesome but being consistent too. And so that's where I'm at right now.
That reminds me of David because David knows that when he goes heavy, he trades differently. So knowing that's why Coach says use small position sizes. So to hear you say, if need be, I'll scale back and just to contribute to the consistency. That's a pretty strong thing to do, especially when you've proven yourself to be successful when you trade at a higher, when you add in more. But yeah, I don't blame you. The consistency is more important than the huge wins.
Oh, absolutely.
Because yeah, eventually the huge wins will be what's consistent, but you got to get the consistency right first. So I agree. That's
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. So aside from like working on myself, right? So I work on myself outside of this too. Like I listen to books and I take lots of notes and I constantly writing in my journal and I clear charts. I chart every day. Like,
wait a minute. Speaking of books, I got to recommend this one. There is a book on YouTube that I fell into this weekend by accident. It's only 2 hours long. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's got some biblical stuff in it, but that's a good thing. It's giving you references. They're not preaching at you, but they're giving you references to scriptures that apply to the situation. But it's amazing. I slept subliminally with it. I mean, I know Saturday, every time I woke up and realized it was off, I just hit the replay button and let it play again because it's only 2 hours. So check that book out, The Game of Life and How to Play It. When you get
I'll take a peek at it for sure.
When you guys get a chance, yeah.
I'll answer a couple of these questions that are in here. Okay. Hudson asked when I'll retire. And he asked if it's once I've been consistent for a full year. There's lots of caveats to that question. If I choose to retire, nobody will know about it for a while until I'm ready to share it. Like that's because I am a firm believer in manifesting what I want in life. And for me, if that means that I want to pay all my bills and get all my bills paid off before I do that, that's what I'll do.
You're going to love this book.
It comes a point in time where, maybe my job lets me go, right? Like the market is crazy right now. How things in the market are working. Like, people are getting let go from their jobs. If that happens, at least I have a cushion, right? And that's another thing too. Like this keeps evolving to where like, what if something happens where my company that I work for goes out of business, I'd be freaking the hell out if that happened, if I didn't have this, I would be freaking out like everybody else would be, and I would have to start applying for other jobs again, and get back into something else where I don't have to do that now. So for me, retirement looks a lot different because I don't know what I would do with that extra time. So I'm still in that state where I'm like, you can only walk the dog for so long, there's
right.
To clean. Right. And I love this community. So giving back to it is like my biggest feat. Like you have no idea. Like I want to give back so much, of my time and helping with training with new people and, getting them comfortable and having them be comfortable, being uncomfortable, whatever, that's so important to me.
Absolutely.
What else is in here?
I know that passion.
I have not shorted any stocks. I have not done that. Let's see. Thank you, Paula. You all are so kind. What else?
Paula, shout out to you. Love you and continue to heal and get better. Thank you for being here.
My gosh, she's a trooper today. I don't know how she's still standing.
I know.
Oh, Vaughn asked a good question, and I get this a lot. She asked about runners and how do I know when to jump in? How do I know when it's the best time to jump in? And would I wait for the first pullback to jump in? Well, there's two sides to this. One, I prefer to wait in the weeds, even if it's incredibly volatile. But it's screen time. It literally legit is screen time. I have so much screen time that's not even funny. However, I've barely scratched the surface with the amount of screen time that I really truly need, I feel like, to be incredibly successful. So I'm going to keep putting in that time, right? It just doesn't stop just because I've had some success. In order for me to continue to grow, and I will, Coach talks about this all the time. You will change how you trade over the time. And I'm very open to that and understand it, even though right now inside I'm like, but what if I don't want to?
Right.
I don't want to change what I'm doing. What if I want to stay doing this? Right. But
And it's not broke.
You know, and I know it's coming, and I understand that. I forget where I was going with this, but it's an evolution, right? So it'll continue to change. You know, just like this, you know, where my profits go, you know, will continue to change. You know, if in the future, you know, this becomes my full-time job, that's great, right? You know, that's wonderful. If this always is just something secondary, you know, and I'm just always in here pre-market kicking ass, fine, you know, but I get to be a part of the moderators too, you know, which is exciting and new and fun, right? And I love that because I love being a part of something that's so much bigger than me. And so for that, I'm very grateful, right? And I get to be a part of that. So yeah, grateful, super grateful.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you. But yeah, so well, they asked about the runners. You know, there's the slingshot method, which I've been able to get in and dabble with too. And that's just watching the ask side and watching it break down that top number. And once it gets down to like, and it really just depends on the stock and how quickly it's moving. 150 to like 200 size wise or whatever, something like that. You know, you get in there and boom, it shoots. That's the best way to describe it. I want to get good enough where I'm scalping candles, like Coach. Like that's like my dream, to sit here and just scalp the crap out of candles. I love that. I love watching it. I've been able to do it twice.
Okay.
Probably by luck, because I couldn't explain how or why it happened. So I know that it was just pure luck.
I don't know. I doubt it.
But it was super fun to see. And I don't pay attention to profit and loss. So if somebody asks me, well, how did you do today? I have no idea until I'm done-ish for the day. And then I'll go and look. But I don't have that up. I have the absolute bare minimum up at all times. I don't overcomplicate it. I do the hot stock picks generally only. I do them between that $1 to $5 range.
And you use the L2, but you also chart, right?
I do chart, and I use the L2, and I have them kind of coincide with one another. I want to get to the point where I can just do it off the L2. It'll make trading on my phone so much easier. Because I don't trade enough on my phone and I need to be able to do that. Now I can get in and out if I need to. Like if for some reason I can't get out of my devices, I can get out. I can do that. And I made sure in the beginning that I was able to get out on my devices before I started going in heavier. Because I know that there's going to be hiccups where sometimes you can't get out of it all the way, you know, or your system might freeze up, you know, whatever. You might lose internet. So yeah, I want to make sure that I can get out of whatever I'm in with the least amount of loss as possible. And then during the day when I scalp, I use my stops. I do. I use the stops. And I don't shy away from it. I actually have mine where it's not on, but I have to like check the box and stuff. So I always have it checked. And I'm typically watching 2 or 3 different stocks at the same time. Because I'm waiting to see what direction it's going, so that I know.
You use trailing stops or just regular stop loss?
Just regular stop loss. I've never used a trailing stop before.
Okay.
In fact, I heard somebody the other day, which I've heard it a million times, talk about the trailing stop, and it was like it dawned on me. I'm like, I kind of like that. I should probably listen to this.
Good idea, because it goes up with you without you having to break your stop and move it and all of that. It moves.
Yeah, and I think that would be super awesome, especially like there's some days where you get a runner, right? And I shed too, so that's another thing. I also do the shedding, and I've been pretty successful with that too, and I understand how that works.
I love that. I love shedding, man. I mean, if you've got 10 contracts or 10 shares, it's so much easier, especially if it's extremely volatile. And especially now that you're familiar with the indicators, if it's sitting above the 9 and above all the EMAs and above VWAP, there's nothing telling you to get completely out of that trade. Yeah, it's pulling back and you don't know how far it's going to pull back unless you're charting it out and you see a double top. It may be headed that way. But for the most part, it may not be ready to take that full drop. So you need to be able to stay in that trade just in case it turns around and decides to go back up. So yeah, I love shedding.
And that's a great point too, right? So waiting in the weeds. Why I love that. Why? Because if you catch it on the way bottom, and it's climbing and it's climbing and it's climbing, right? And then you're paying attention to the indicators, which I didn't do for a long time. You pointed it out to me like, hey, pay attention to these because you don't have to get out so soon. And I've heard it a million times. I've heard it over and over, just like everybody else has. And now I follow that. But what's really great about that is if you get in the weeds and you're watching the indicators, and then you see, oh, well, I would have got out, but I don't need to. And it's climbing and climbing,
right.
climbing, and it's still above it. And at that point, you're probably so far up from where you started that even the slightest bit of pullback, or even if it's a lot, but it's not enough to like pull you completely out of it, you're still ahead.
Correct.
You're teaching yourself patience. And so I love that. Yeah, I couldn't believe that and I knew they were there, right? But I was following the atmosphere that I was in, right? So being in pre-market, kind of following what Nate's doing, because why, there's a saying, and I don't remember what it is, but you follow like the 5 people that you surround yourself with, or something like that, or 4 or 5 or something like that.
I know what you mean.
And then in the morning time, right, now it's evolved now. Like we got a lot more people in there that have a lot of like training ability, that comes in there and stuff. But when I came in here, it was Nate and Mark talking all the time.
Yeah.
And so I cling to Mark's, or not Mark's, Nate's. Did you hear me like combine their names? That's funny.
Narc.
I did. I said that. And I'm like, I just combined their names. That's super funny.
I do it with Nate and Ted. I'll say Tate or Ned all the time.
That's awesome. But Nate, I was following what he was doing, right? And so I learned early on about his little tidbits of things that he does. And I clinged to that. Because that, they say if you want to learn from Nate and how he does things, like you need to be in there and stuff, because that's, the best time to do it when the market's slow, whatever. So I was basically honing in on all his habits of the things that he's done. And now I've evolved a little bit, right, where I do use my stops during the day. I do shed. I do that on a regular basis. I use the indicators, which I didn't use for a long time, but I do now. And it keeps me in longer. I'm able to make more profit. I'm teaching myself patience. And I'm building confidence in what I'm doing. Awesome. So it all works together.
That is awesome. Do you have any advice for new people who are looking to start off just like you did? You know what I mean? Would you recommend them starting like $500? Was that a good benchmark for you to start with? Gave you room to kind of fail, or?
It's what I had.
Okay.
I think everybody's different.
There was no rhyme or reason other than, hey, this is what I got to do this with.
Yeah, and I think you could come in here and you could do the same thing with like $100 account too. It's a much smaller scale, but you build on it. You come in here at the $100.
Nana said she would build 100 to 500. Build 100 to 500, build 100 to 500, and then just keep shedding it off, taking it back to 100. You could do something like that. You know?
But you come in here with an empty cup, come in here with a really small account like that, come in here empty, come in here with the idea that, okay, I got to follow all these rules so that I can become successful and learn how to do this properly. Your account will grow. There will be errors, there'll be mistakes, but use those as opportunities to learn from them. But don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. That's like the worst thing you could possibly do, but I'm a firm believer, and I approach everything. If you want something bad enough, you'll figure it out.
That's right. And come in the morning. It's like so many people whine about that, but that shows you who's serious about getting it done.
Exactly.
And not everybody can do it. We understand that because of certain schedules, or you've got kids or something like that. But for the most part, if you have the time and the wherewithal, you should, that's the price you have to pay, getting up at 4 a.m. I'm putting the link in the stream for anybody who wants to come up here and join the panel. There we go. For anybody who wants to come up and join the panel. So it's down there now. Let's have the panel full up. And you guys feel free to ask Ange any questions. Ange, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I mean, I love it every time you come up here because every time you say something new. And the cool thing is the stuff that you say that's the same. It's not like, she didn't say that last time, she's lying. No, everything lines right up to what you told us months ago. So, and why would you? The proof is in the pudding. So you are one to follow. You are one to watch, keep a close eye on, and come in the pre-market and trade with us, guys. We're doing waiting in the weeds. We're helping some people that are struggling. So that is a easier strategy, and you can do it with little to no money. So if you need help, come in the morning. You need to get the VIP membership so you can be there at first thing in the morning. And we have got, I think this might be Waffle.
It is. Hi, Waffle.
Hey, Waffle.
Hi, kids.
What's going on, bro?
Not much. Just driving home from work. Hey, I got an excellent kind of an idea because you and Ange are like this, right? So here's my thought. I'm yelling because I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Accountability buddy. Can you do a mastermind class between the two of you as to what you would do for that realm so other people can benefit from gaining the accountability buddy? Men, women, whatever. Yeah.
What are you suggesting, that we become accountability buddies?
Who, me?
Well, we are accountability buddies.
And you?
We already are.
Accountability buddies. Yeah, no, seriously, you guys are accountability buddies, but what do you do in order to keep that in track or in scope of like, give us a rundown. Make it a class.
Well, and I think being an accountability buddy means something different to some people, right?
Yeah.
So when Dawn asked me to be her accountability buddy, I asked her a very simple question. I asked her what her why was. And that's a very important question to ask. Why? Because if you don't know why you're doing this, then you're not going to get anywhere, right?
Exactly.
So my why constantly changes or adjusts to my lifestyle. So that's how I approach my why. Dawn's why is slightly different, right? So you have to know, like, if you have an accountability buddy, you got to know why they're doing this, because you got to know where to drive them, right? So I communicate with Dawn. I ask her if she's green. I tell her she's going to whoop ass that day. It's going to be a great day, because Dawn already knows how to do the job. She already knows how to come in here and do it. She knows it, but sometimes you need somebody in your corner that says, hey, you're going to do great today. And that's all that matters, and it'll play out as it does, and we'll make mistakes, and you have to be able to go to that accountability buddy and say, hey, I messed up today.
And I do. Whenever I do that, I'm completely transparent with her. I'll say, hey, because she doesn't know. She can't look in here. But what's the purpose of an accountability buddy if they're not going to hold you accountable when you screw up just as well as when you do well? They got to be in the loop on all that. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest, if you do decide to have an accountability buddy or partner, make sure that you are being completely transparent with each other. Mm-hmm. Start off with the why, but be complete. Don't lie. If you had a bad day, let them know. They may say something to help you out so that you don't do that again, or so that you can get through it that day so that you can trade the next day.
Right.
Because she does that for me all the time.
Yeah, no, and I truly respect that. The other things is, like, when you have, okay, so let's go out of the trading thing. When you have a buddy or somebody that you rely on to keep you in line, let's say Gamblers Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, blah 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 blah. A trading buddy that did that. Are you, like, sister, brother, do you want to not overtrade? Do you want to, like, what are you doing? Like, stop, all of these lines or points that the accountability buddy can actually be helpful to you in that respect. That's my point. I'm just trying to maybe
I don't ever tell Dawn what she should or shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, we don't do that with each other. We don't, hey, you shouldn't do that. Now, in the beginning, Anne suggested, hey, maybe you should kind of move away from options if they're beating you up that much. And I completely agreed with her. You know what I mean? Did I do it? No, I didn't. But it wasn't like a thing where she kept like, I told her, yeah, I went on ahead and did an option or two today. Did she come down and be like, okay, geez, I said not to do that. You shouldn't do that. No, she was like, okay, hey, listen, if it beats you up today, just, there's tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. There was never any of that. If she has a red trade, well, what'd you do? You know what I mean? You don't come down on each other like that. Yeah. She does so well that there's not a whole lot of red trade talk with her. I just continue to, hey, I'm proud of you because I really am. She's kicking ass. And people who kick ass like that will have haters, jealous people coming at them at some point. And she needs to know that there are people in this group, a ton of us, that are in her corner, especially us girls, hate to do the gender thing there, but that are really pushing for her to keep doing what she's doing because it inspires the rest of us as well. So that's my thing. I'm mostly a cheerleader for her, and she's more of a okay, well, hey, keep it going, just make sure you're green. That's her main thing with me. Make sure you're green today. And that's all I'm focused on.
Okay. Yeah, no. And trust me, you guys are an inspiration for all of us. The only reason why I brought up the topic was because I thought, you know what? Accountability, and I hear it all the time for the past probably couple of months that Ange has been around. It hasn't really been expanded upon, so I needed to get that into my brain and maybe help others with what you guys are doing to each other, right? So
yeah, and literally at 4:00 in the morning, as soon as the market starts, hey, good morning, let's be green today. Yep. You know what I mean? And then from there on, it's like little texts throughout the day, just checking in. Now, we all know I suck at reading texts. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'm answering later in the day, but I do always go back. Angie's in my top 3, and I don't text a bunch of people. So there's a bunch of whatever automated stuff, and there's the 2 or 3 people that I text, and Angie's right there in the top 3 with Jen and a couple other people. And I click that every couple hours and see if she said something. And I just check in. I'm always aware, and she's always got a message there. So she's always checking in with me. That tells me that too. Even on Saturday, she'll come in with a happy Saturday, and sometimes we'll converse and sometimes we won't. Sometimes it'll just be happy Saturday. You have a great weekend, but we're always checking in. I look forward to that. That makes me feel like, hey, I'm not alone in this thing. I got somebody I can talk to and who knows what I'm going through. And Jen is that for me at home, but in the group, it's Nate, it's it's Ange, you know what I mean? And even Christina and I talk on X. We try to pump each other up. So there's a couple of them, you know what I mean? And Ange is in the chat in the morning like nobody's business, helping people out. I don't chat as much because of the vision thing, but she's always in the chat. So anybody that wants to be an accountability buddy with Ange can do so as well through the chat as well, because she's always making herself available in there. Yeah, she's amazing.
No, that's cool. Confidentially, so no one else will ever know. Don't tell nobody. Growing up, some of my best
You're
friends,
live, right? Publicly? You know that, right?
We're not.
You're telling everybody.
Quiet. Don't tell nobody. Don, don't tell nobody. So growing some of my best friends were girls, and all the guys were jealous of me because I related to the ladies in my group, and they were like, "How do you know what's going on with them?" It's like, you just gotta listen, man. But some guys just don't get it, right? So that's why I'm trying to get your input out for our output so we can listen to what you two are doing. So I just wanted to kind of relate that.
And I think, I think it's important to point out, like, this can be really lonely, and
It can be.
it was that way for me in the beginning, because I came in here, like I said, knowing nothing. And I'm like, God, my husband's going to kill me. Like, this is just insane. Like, he knows I'm getting up, but I'm trying to be quiet, and then I work from home. So I don't have like coworkers that I go and I mingle with. Right. Like, I don't have that. So I have a sense of a community, right? Where these are my people, right? Like, we go and sit around with each other, and like real life, like we all know each other in a weird way, right? Like, we've gotten to know each other for so long at this point. But it can be really lonely, and I've shared with some friends, what I'm up to, because I need to share it with somebody, whether they understand it or not. Like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But as lifestyle changes and things start happening, like, they're going to wonder what the hell's going on. What are you
Right.
doing? Because they know what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Right? And they start to see some changes happening. Like, there's going to be questions, and with that tight knit group of people, it's okay for me to have that conversation. Right. Yeah. So, like, I gave them the link today, and I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this, if you get a hot minute, watch the restream otherwise, because I want them to see, like, it's not like a validation thing, because that's weird to me, but it's easier to explain it when you're surrounding yourself with people that do it every single day, that know what you're doing and understand why you get up so early. Why do you go to bed so early during the week? How come it's not normal for you not to have a cocktail, on a Tuesday night for tacos? Why aren't you doing that? Well, it's because I got to get up at 2:30. And if I have too many margaritas, Angela can't get up. So that doesn't happen,
Right.
So it's about the discipline, right? And then in hindsight of that, right? Like, I see the light at the end of this tunnel. Now, that light will always be in a distance, right? Because I am never going to get to the end where I am so good, so fantastic, because I come in here every single day with an empty cup, ready to learn something that I may have learned or heard, but that it's going to come forth, right? But what I want now is I want my friends to see, like, how this can change your life.
Yeah.
Right. And like, and I want to share that with everybody. I want to go sit down with every single one of my close friends and show them what I'm doing and show them how they can do it, because I know some of them don't like the situations that they're in.
Yeah.
And whether it may be, just some pocket money, right? Like, great, cool. You want to fund like a vacation account. Great. That's awesome. You can come here and we can show you how to do that. You know
what, Angela, unfortunately, the sad part is that 1% of those people will listen to you and actually learn from it. What I've learned is, when you want to express yourself in telling somebody, let's for example say the truth about a situation, only 1% will listen, and the other 99% will go, yeah, whatever, you're off the wall, we like in Chad's group, we are literally less than 1% of the world population that are listening and trading properly and learning the mechanics of what is going on in this group. And we are like-minded, so there's only a few more people. We can tell as many people as we want, but there'll only be 1 or 2 people that will listen. Your husband is one of them, and Dawn's wife is another one. The people that I've told, they thought I was nuts.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But you know what I say to that? I am at least doing myself and them a service by saying something and getting it out there, because they may not hear it today. They may not hear it tomorrow, but several months down the line, they could be scrolling on TikTok too and come across the same exact thing we did, or for some of us or whomever, and be like, I should probably try this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it'll strike them. It'll strike them at the worst moment that they would even think of. But they will say, "Oh, you know what? Ange said this to me, and I should have tried it then." You know.
They'll be led to it the same way we were. It
Yeah.
was meant for them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? All of us were in a place where it was an answer that we were looking for in that moment.
Yep.
And I said this the other day. I said, Coach, the universe has tasked Coach with changing so many people's lives, because look at a lot of us have a similar story. We were looking for not everything, everybody was looking for the same thing, but it was very similar what we were looking for. And it turns out Coach had the answer to that. And
Yep.
he knew how to relay it in a way that we all understood it. And we were all led to him, you know, so.
You worded that perfectly the other day, and you're wording it again today. That's exactly. I was searching for 2 years to do something online, and something's draw me to Coach and you and whoever I was listening to at the time on TikTok, and oh my goodness, this guy is actually sincere.
Yeah.
And that's where it struck me, and that's why I invested not only in him but in my education. So yeah, no, you and Ange are correct, absolutely, 100%.
Pebbles, what's going on?
I don't know where Pebbles went.
Okay, Pebbles room, what's going on? What the hell? I look and then there's no Pebbles. There's just
Pebbles did say that he'd be right back. I did see that.
Okay.
So, and I actually, whenever I come across somebody that I've had a conversation about, I've heard some stories, right? We're like, oh, you do what? Like, I do. And, they might have something negative to say. Well, you know what? You can say whatever negative thing you want, but you have no idea that I have found something, or we all actually have found something that you could take everything away from us, everything, right down to the last goddamn penny that you have, but they're never going to be able to take away your skill.
Mm-hmm.
You have a skill they'll never be able to take away, and you can start again.
Absolutely.
Right at the bottom, and it doesn't freaking matter. You can start over, and they can't take that from you.
And
Talk
you're not,
to them, sis.
and exactly what you've learned. Nobody can ever take that away from you. Nothing.
Because now we have the skill. That's why we're pressing the process.
Yep.
You can lose your money. Look, Donald Trump, he lost his billions, got them all back. How? Because there was a process that he followed the first time. There's a mindset that he has. Coach will tell you, lost it all, got it back. Why? Because they have a skill. Yep. There's no accident to that. They got it back. So if you get the skill down, it doesn't matter if you blow your account up one day. Jimmy blew his account up, but because he had the skill and he had Coach to get him through it, thank God, and reinforce that skill, he got it all back. Lost $1 million in a day, dude. Got it all back in a day. Come on. That's skill.
That's
so great. Not all the same day, but
yeah.
That process is so important.
I've lost a few thousand and gained it back. I wish I was Ange and having a Green Day, even a few $50, $100 every day. That would be nice. But yeah, I've lost a bunch and I've gained some back, and I've kind of teeter-tottered. But again, with Coach's rules, that's where we need to be, right? That's why he invented those rules.
Hi, Pebbles.
Hi, I got a question for Angie.
What's up?
It's either Ange or Angela. She don't like Angie. I'm going to put it straight. There you go. I got you.
First of all, there's a million different voices talking. I don't know who's talking. The question is, when you're going in, do you set?
You're in the Matrix.
You're in the Matrix.
Oh, I can hear him.
Okay.
I can hear him.
You heard all those words? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear it. Can you enlighten me? What did he say?
I think he's still trying to figure out what exactly he wants to say, which is fine. I can hear him.
Okay.
when you set your okay, how do you know where to set your stop?
Oh, that's a really good question. So it depends. I have mine set at 45% every time, and I move my stop up according. And it depends on how volatile the stock is. It's usually this. I think it's the second candle, halfway down. I think is what it is. Without doing it, like having it on my screen, it's hard to like walk through. But my stop is always 45%, and I move it up. I have mine set to do that.
You go with 45, huh?
Yeah. I heard that somewhere.
25 to 40%?
Something like that, yeah. And I just always move it. I know, is that the right way? I don't know, but it works.
Yeah, coach says on entry, do 25 to 40%, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
And then as you get more into the profit, move it up.
And that's
what I do. Yeah. And I always move it up. Yeah.
That's the key, is your comfortability and how much you're willing to win or lose, right?
Yeah. The first place you should move it is right above what you paid. That way you're in a free trade from that point on. Yes. And then let it breathe.
Yep. Well, then you don't want it too close or catch you out real quick.
Right. Let it breathe before you move it up that second time.
That's another reason why it's down as far as it is.
Yeah. And don't forget to shed. Shed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What else you got, Pebbles?
Well,
Don, while he's thinking about his next thing, I'm going to dip out. I'm going to keep watching. Ange, Don, I love you. Pebbles, nice to hear from you. See ya.
Good to see you, Waffle.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, Waffle. Thanks for coming in.
I'm just checking in with the girls, you know.
Awesome. You better keep on checking in with us.
I will. You know it. Okay,
if
see ya.
If you trade $1 stock, and you know how much you want to make. So you want to make 25. At $1 stock. Say you want to make $10. You go in the 50, 20, 20, 10. You know.
To shed. If I were to shed, yeah. Always 50, 20, 20, 10.
Okay, I've been doing 60, 20, 20.
Oh, see, and I don't shy away from what like gets trained. So I don't go outside of what like gets discussed. So if coach says for me or says in the training to do, you know, the 50, 20, 20, 10, that's what I'm going to do. But I mean, if that works, I guess I've never done it.
Yeah, different people, according to their tolerances, will do different things. You know, I've heard Eric Smoto say he's shed 99% at some point and leaves a runner or two. You know what I mean? So each person will develop their own.
I mean, that makes sense for people that want to do it that way.
I just take most of their profit.
Yeah, and for me, it'll probably evolve over time, right? Like I don't know. I
you need a starting point.
Yeah, and I have a very hard time like going outside of what like I'm supposed to do. So, but I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
You know, and I usually do whole numbers when I do my share numbers, just so that I can shed it pretty easily. And I try not to steer away from that. Once in a great while, I'll accidentally like move a stock, and I'll check another one, and I go back and I realize that my shedding is different. I got to fix it. Fine, whatever. You know, it happens. But
you okay, Pebbles?
You said he couldn't hear.
I'm fine, but I'm hearing a lot of different voices.
Do you have your YouTube turned up? That may be, you may be getting an echo because of that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it our voices you're hearing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
we're
So
echoing.
you have your YouTube. So you have your restream, and then you also have your YouTube live. So if you pause the YouTube, the chat will still run, so you can see that, but then you won't have that echo. I don't hear it. I'm actually surprised we don't hear an echo.
Yeah, I don't either.
Did that work?
Microphone check. Yeah, microphone check. Is it doubling up or echoing now? Can you hear us?
I'm going to get somebody that knows how to do these things on this computer and straighten me all out, because everything is fouled up.
Okay.
Our Weeble's fouled up. Everything's fouled up.
Yeah. Are you a VIP, Pebbles? Do you come in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, because Mark's pretty good with that.
He is.
Yeah.
I need somebody hands-on.
I gotcha. Yeah, get Best Buy. Get the Geek Squad.
I gotta get this thing straightened out.
Yeah, if you have a Best Buy near you, they have the Geek Squad that'll come out and help you out.
They are worthless.
All righty. So much for that. But
yeah, if you can figure out how to pause the YouTube, that'll get rid of that noise. Because I have mine paused so that I can see the chat live. Because I haven't figured out how I can chat on the restream. I don't know if I can. So I just have it up still on the other screen.
Nah, usually you got to just go directly to YouTube and chat that way.
Gotcha.
Well, I'll see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, you might be able to. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not like too tech savvy myself. I just randomly one day figured it out that I could pause it.
And still get the live chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bahir Ball said Serve is on fire.
Oh.
So you're still trading Serve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
I gotta change my L2 size.
How long do you hold on to hot stock picks? Like, how long do they stay on your watch list? Do you watch them until they run out of steam? How does that work for you?
Well, I have them so that I pay attention to the month's run. So, like, I pay attention to anything that's ran for the month of July. Mm-hmm. We're at the end of it now, but month of July, that's in my dollar range. So I pay attention to those. A lot of times I don't have to go and look at any of the others because the hot stocks for the day just either keep running or, whatever is running for that time frame. So if it's the one day, then I'm paying attention to the runners for the one day. If they're running and if they're running in the aftermarket, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm paying attention to news. Mm-hmm. If there's like a catalyst for why it could be running, I'm always asking myself that question. So I'm constantly learning. Like, I've learned so much about things I didn't even know were a thing. I don't watch TV, so that's not my thing. So okay, so I break one rule. I do break a rule. I don't do the homework.
Oh, you don't watch the movie?
I don't. In fact, my husband's like,
what if I want to watch balance?
And Jeremy's like, what if I want to watch the movie? And I'm like, yeah, but I would fall asleep. Like, it's too much downtime for me.
You must have balance, Angel Son.
I have balance. I do things. I drink wine.
The wine is your thing,
I mingle.
Right?
I chase Jada. But no, so I guess I do break one rule. Whatever, it's fine. Coach can call me out.
Is that really a rule, though?
I know, but it's a part of the process, right? It's just, we all ask every week, what is the
I think
the
he does
homework?
that to give us some downtime. You
Oh,
just
I'm
do your
sure. It's
downtime
just fun to tease
differently.
about it.
I
Yeah.
forgot my hat.
Oh, you can't be forgetting your hat, Pebbles. I'm
Oh, I
sorry.
have mine on the shelf.
Now, I can hear you, and I can hear you talking, Ron, but then I have a bunch of other ones, and my voice is delayed.
Oh yeah. So it is YouTube. It is
Everything,
YouTube that's doing that.
unless
What do you have YouTube up now on? A computer or your phone?
I have it on a computer.
And how are you on Restream? On your computer as well?
Pardon?
You're on Restream on your computer as well. Everything you're doing through the computer at like everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know how to click on the YouTube tab?
Probably not.
Like
Can you
when you
see us
log.
talking? Can you see us talking on that screen?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look at that screen, let me make mine bigger so I can see it. On the, let's see, it would be the left-hand side. Hold on, I'm gonna mute a second because it's gonna echo.
No.
Okay, so on the left-hand side of your screen, of the YouTube screen, you'll see a button that looks like something that looks like two lines. And it's gonna be all the way in the corner on the left.
Okay.
Do you see those two lines?
I've got an app.
You should still see it. She's trying to get you to pause it.
Yeah, I'm trying to if you push the button, it'll pause the YouTube. It's two lines. Do you watch the restreams? Do you watch the YouTube videos for training? Because if you do, it's the same button.
I'm surprised. How'd you get on here, Pebbles? If
It's
you're that challenged.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Where are these buttons located?
So on the bottom of the screen of the video that all three of us are on currently, that you can hear us talking, on the left-hand side in the corner on the bottom, you'll see two lines that looks like an 11. Push it. Just once. Did you push it?
No lines.
Interesting.
Just like just so happens I've got a mirror.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so he's on the Restream screen. We need to figure out where his YouTube is.
Okay, so that is the restream. So it's
Yeah.
right next to, it's the tab next to it, it looks like. So he needs to click on the tab next to it.
That's what I was trying to get him to do earlier. Do you
That's
know
what it
how to
looks
get over to YouTube? From there, Bubbles?
Yeah,
Click
so
the tab on the top.
at the top. It's the tab right next to it. That's what it looks like.
Did he leave the room?
I don't know how to get to YouTube. I thought this was YouTube. Up here on top.
Yeah, you should see a YouTube logo up on top somewhere with your tabs.
Add studio. Tab. Video, camera, microphone.
Okay.
Is it not the tab that's right next to it?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It looks like it is.
Yeah, go to the left of that one. Click the tab left of that. The one that you just clicked. Looks like it says YouTube. Like where you just were? Yeah. Does that say YouTube?
It says after the market.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay, click on that.
And then down in the corner there in the left, there should be 2 lines. And it'll pause it.
There it is. Yeah, right where your cursor is, put your cursor back on the screen. In that lower left-hand corner. Yeah, see? Yeah, you see that? The pause button? It's the 2 lines in the lower left of the black part.
Bye.
What happened?
Did he get it?
The pause.
Yep, pause.
Yeah.
And then you won't have that background noise anymore.
And click it off.
Yeah, you could pause it or you could shut it down. Either one.
Yeah, either one's fine.
Okay, well, I can hear you now. I just can't. You're frozen in time.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but now if you click on the other tab that you were on before you clicked on this one, you'll be able to actually see us.
Okay.
The one to the right of the YouTube.
Yeah.
The one that says studio.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey.
Woohoo!
Okay, so from here on out, whenever you come on, just do that. Pause your YouTube once you're on the panel.
Okay. We'll do
And that way you won't get any of that echo anymore.
Thank you.
Yay, everybody's a winner.
Drives you nuts.
But you know what? That's why patience. Gotta have patience.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, that's true. YouTube.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, it's 6:30. I don't know that is anybody else coming up here on the panel? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and shut down because I haven't done any edits in a while, and I'd like to do a nice edit for Coach for his 2 years. So I've been working on that the past couple days. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to that. Ange, thank you so much for coming. And
anytime.
Thank you very much, Ange.
Anytime.
And
I'm always in the chats.
You're welcome.
And I'm always here in the morning.
All right. Have a good trade tomorrow.
You too.
Yes, you too. And everybody down there, have a fantastic night. I'm going to go ahead and end with Coach's rules as I normally do. And, you can always catch Ange in the morning if you have more questions that you want to ask her. Get your ass up in the morning and come hang out in the pre-market.
Yep. Always. Have a good night, everybody.
You too, baby girl. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Have a great night. All right, let me find Coach's rules so we can bouncy. Listen, don't forget, we're trying to get Coach to 15,000 subscribers right now. We are sitting at 11,255. So we got to keep sharing the content, guys. We got to keep sharing the content, and we have to keep bringing people in here. All right. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for being down there in the chat and asking such intelligent questions. And everybody have a good night. Peace and blessings.
Yeah. Hey, 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Never lose more than 1 to 3% ever of your total account value in any given day. Always make sure you have stop losses on each and every single trade, whether it's shares or options. Make sure you guys are practicing base hits. Don't be trying to go for those home runs. Everybody be cool with that. Every once in a while you'll get the home runs, but that comes back to our other rule. Let the runners run and stop out the losers, all right? So if we're getting hammered on something and it's going against you, just get out of there. If you're new to trading, do not trade in the first 30 minutes of the day or the last hour, ever. And if you are new to trading, do not use real money. You should be using simulated trainers, and you can use them on all sorts of different accounts. TD has them. TradingView, you can do rewinds. There's all sorts of stuff. Don't come in with real money blowing up your account. That is not how you want to learn. I want to make you a stock market trader and not just another call-out chaser.